So guys, warm welcome back to the channel. I'm going to be tinkering around today and doing a few bits on the Guzzi. I've got a few bits off Amazon, AliExpress, different places, just to sort a few routine things out. We've got a locker key that we may be able to adapt for the hole in the tank. I'd just like to get that so I can lock it. May work, might not work. I've got some spare washers that I bought, that 16mm, that should decrease the size of that. So that'll go under there and that'll go on top of the tank, because that goes straight through the hole on the tank at the moment. Keys for that. What else have we got? Nothing in that box. We've got fuel line and attachments to connect the two taps either side of the bike to a central feed underneath. As I said in an earlier video, at the moment we've just got one tube coming off either side of the tank directly to each carb. Because the tank is more or less partitioned in the middle, when the fuel gets low, what happens, the fuel drops from one side or it can completely run out and that carb will stop running, then you're running on one cylinder. So it needs to be connected, both taps need to be connected to each other and connected to both carbs so they can feed from either side of the tank. A few other bits, so nothing excessive at the moment. I've spent €90 on a battery when we were doing the getting it started from its seized state last weekend. We've got an ignition key as well. It's going to replace the barrel there. It's just a basic 2.1, and again it's only 16 diameter, so I've got another one of these washers that probably will go either there on the bike, or I might be able to use this black piece that's there underneath it, but either way it'll work as a solution for now. So in this bag we've got the required T-pieces, or they should be the T-pieces. Quite stonking hot, guys. I know you guys in the UK are going to be getting it hot this weekend, but the weather's broke finally here now, and on my weather forecast for the next 14 days there's nothing under 32, so it's blue skies straight the way through. And the two jobs we're in the middle of at the moment, quite large construction jobs, are both outside, so a bit nasty and warm. Been out on the Voge this morning. Fantastic bike, still amazes me. Great tool bike, really comfortable. My wife really likes being on the back of it. I've seen a lot of comments lately on different things from guys in the UK saying the battery is absolutely rubbish, the chain's rubbish. Well, okay, I've got all my other bikes over there and I do maybe mileage per year, 11,000 kilometres a year on all the bikes. This has already done, in the 2 years, it's done 10,000 kilometres. Still haven't got around to changing the tyres yet. They're both going to be changed. They're both probably down to what I would consider what I'd use them at, although this morning we've been out on a fair blast around a few twisties and they're really still grippy. Yeah, talking about the chain and the battery, 2 years I've done 10,000 kilometres, not a massive amount of mileage each year. So the battery still perfect, it still starts fine. The chain, not a problem, I've adjusted it a couple of times. No issues whatsoever with the 900, so I don't know what to tell you guys. These people who balk at it, I mean, even mine now, the last time I did a throttle reset was a long time ago and it's still running sweet as a nut. It really is nice. We're in slow moving traffic this morning, steady as a rock. You can get both feet down on the ground, comfortable, providing you use your rear brake coming up to traffic lights, etc., so you don't get the dive on the front end with a pillion. Beautiful bike. Anyway, waffling on about the wrong bike there, so I'm going to be tinkering around with this today. What I'm hoping to do is do the fuel lines, do the lock on the tank, change the ignition, and I'm going to pull the master cylinder off the back because this is absolutely cooked. It's doing nothing whatsoever. We've just got one disc working at the front, and we'll strip that out, and I'm hoping, depending on the bore inside and the piston, if it's still smooth and nice inside, we'll just get a refresh kit for it. If not, there's aftermarket ones of these that are generic that can be swapped over. It's a Brembo system at the moment, a Brembo piece I should say, so I prefer to keep the Brembo on there. So I'm going to try and service it if I can, bleed the brakes, get them working. I've also got the rear final drive oil to change and the gearbox oil to change. I've not got exactly the right gearbox and final. So there we go, guys, there's the original barrel out. There's just a thumb turn on the top on a thread that was in this hole, so the thumb turn holds it in one side of the hole and it's just basically in that particular hole inside there. And I've just tried the new one in, and if I can do it one-handed, because I'm actually doing this on my phone, just as a temporary solution. I may get a key cut for the original, but that will go in there, and with a bit of shimmying around will fit flush, so you can't see anything at the back. So it'll sit something like that in there without putting a washer on, I would think, if I get it in the right position. So we'll get that put in, we'll get it connected up and check the ignition's working, get this screwed back on. The next step is to do this one here, and I'll catch up with you when I've got this fixed in place and check it's working. So guys, ignition switch in, fairly straightforward. A bit awkward to get into the back to get the nut on there, but if I turn the key on, you can see we've got ignition lights at the top there. So whether you can see in this sunlight, but ignition on. Bit of a funky coloured key, but I'm not really fussed about that, as long as it works. Ignition on, ignition off. Simple as that. So that's a quick fix for that. €2 something, €2.50 AliExpress. Okay, now onto the tank, see if that's going to be as easy as the ignition switch. So onto this little barrel that's going to go in here. I'm not sure if it's going to be deep enough. As you can see at the moment, it goes straight through there, hence the washers, stainless steel washers. That will go in there. Not going to be perfect, but as you can see, it's going to look half okay. And the problem is the depth when we're in, so it's quite hard to see, although we could dogleg the lever that goes round. So the idea at the moment is to put that in, put the nut on the back. If I can find the nut, there's the nut. And so we'll drop that in there. We'll wind the nut on the back. This is a simple, again, couple of euros, a simple locker key. What we're tightening at the moment, so we can get that centered. And you get a bunch of keys with it, 4 keys actually. And as you can see, once that's tightened, that's the off position, so we want that to be at 90 degrees, depending which way we're going to come in at. So I'm assuming that it's going to come in, if you can see the slope in the back there, it goes from this side higher to lower. So the lower is going to be the tightest, so it's going to come in from the right hand side and go low, which is as I've got it. So if you keep that as is at the moment, trial, so what I'll do, I'll get a pair of pliers, and we want to try and keep it in the same position we've got it in, really. And as you can see, there's a recessed hole on the top that, with a bit of finicking around, you should be able to get it to sit to cover it all. I know you're probably screaming out, why don't I get a ring spanner, but I don't think I've got a ring spanner that's big, to be honest. So the latch is just a tiny bit too long to engage underneath, so I'm going to try and cut a bit off with a pair of metal cutters. Try again. So guys, with a bit of trial and error, we've got the washer in there. It's not totally centered at the moment, but I'm just trying to get everything in sort of place it can be fine tweaked and messed around with later. So the key turns. This has had to be filed down a bit to it needs fettling a bit more. It's just roughly filed at the moment. That's on quite tight on the bottom. Just give that final nip up just to make sure. Yeah, that's tight enough. So the key turns. Really tight, probably a bit too tight. Could probably file a touch more off it, but So locking petrol cap, ignition. So that's first two jobs out the way. Just if we get it on the road and we go anywhere for its ITV, if we park it up, no one's going to be tempted to siphon any juice out of this big tank. So locking petrol cap at the moment, and we've got ignition switch. Next job to do is the T-sections on the fuel lines. So we'll get this cover off the bike, which is a temporary cover at the moment. And we'll move all the keys out of the way so we don't lose them. Wipe the tank down. Yeah, so with not a lot of money, guys, if you're quite intuitive and you can sort things out yourself, you can see at the moment we've got a lock-in petrol cap. That needs to be centered. You can see the recess there, so it needs to come back a bit. There's plenty of room to do that, so I'll shimmy that around later. This is in the right position, so we've got ignition key, ignition working, locking fuel cap, and the next job is to turn the fuel taps off, disconnect the fuel hoses, put a T-piece in, send a piece through to the other side and connect them up. So that's the next job. So onward and upwards. So fuel tap in the off position already, that side. Same this side, I would imagine. Yeah, we're in the off position. Now, not a lot of room on the back of these fuel lines, and not a lot of room to get the fuel line through either. There's a bit of a gap underneath there, a bit of a gap through the battery box if you took it around the back way. So I'm guessing the easiest way is to, the banjo on the other side is on the opposite side of the carb, as I mentioned in a previous video, so you have to take the carb and everything off just to get the connection on the banjo, which is pretty tight on the other side, so I'm inclined to leave that at the moment. These two pieces of tube that I rescued are pretty good, so I might just take this bit of ugly wire off here and put a clip on there, and we'll feed some tube through and see how we get on. So again, guys, everything cheap as chips on the internet, usually €8 or €9 for way more tubing than I need. So guys, a couple of meters of tubing, way more than I actually need, so we'll feed this through from one side to the other, and I think we'll go through this gap underneath here. Seems to be the most logical way to do this, and we'll do the other side first. So we need some connectors, T-pieces, gonna need a pair of pliers, and what we'll do this side, we'll connect that onto there. So we need a pair of pliers to undo this, firm grip on it, off it onto the pipe, can let that go there for a minute, off the T-piece in, bring the connector over. Now the good thing, these pipes are nice and warm, so they're quite pliable because they're out in the sun, and should fit okay. Now the only trouble with this cable to this carburettor now at the top, as you can see, there's not a lot of room up here, not a lot of room at all actually. So what I need is to take it off the top first. I'm going to need a screwdriver for that. Is there. So guys, both fuel lines installed, tank to tank either side and through the carburetors. So all good with that, it's running well. And I proceeded to take the master cylinder off for the rear brake and the front left-hand brake. That was a non-starter, so I've ordered new parts. They'll be coming shortly. So like, subscribe, and give me a thumbs up, and you can carry on this journey with me in the near future. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out. Take care.